So I am just getting things set up on both Zoom and on this Facebook Live for our book club today, our first book club. Um, I saw that there was a couple of people on Zoom, but I don't see them anymore. If I keep looking back and forth, it's because I have my iPad open for Zoom and my desktop for the Facebook Live. I have to figure all this combination stuff out. So, whether you're listening live or on the recording, I really want to welcome you to this portal, this pocket of a time where we're talking about the art of returning to love, how to show fear and stress the exit and heal. Um, Honestly, love is the true healer. So our I guess our objective, our dedication is to peel back all the layers that have kept us in, more separated from love than connected to love. And that sounds kind of fantastical, and this isn't about romantic love. It's about the fabric of the universe. It's about the essence of every particle and wave and every particle and atom that we're made from. So it's just about expanding our perception of how that all works and what it means to us and who we really are in relationship to that, and how we can harness that energy for to heal. And heal is an acronym in my way of thinking of it, for health and vitality. That's the H. Empowerment and ease and expression. It can be creative expression, but it also could be just the way you express in a conversation with your teenager or something like that. So I'm going to just check over here on Zoom and see what is. So meanwhile, if you don't already have a copy of the book, there are links in the description box, both to the Kindle version in Amazon and a complimentary PDF version if you'd rather just do it that way. But we're going to start out. First, I wanted to just say a couple of things. I want to invite you to join the conversation. So either comments, or if you jump onto the Zoom, then please feel free to speak. Unmute yourself and speak. I'm just going to ask that everybody be respectful, and obviously in time, if people aren't respectful, then we'll just have to kind of change the way we do that. But I doubt that will be the case, because love is going to be the dominant force of energy here. So let's just take a minute or two and maybe take a breath or two in through the nose, out through the mouth, because that connects a circular flow of your life force in your body. And from that circular flow, all of your channels can have access to the breath and the life force. We don't always realize that when we're breathing more than oxygen. We're breathing cosmic life force that is filled with essence and that love that we're talking about. So you could even, take the practice, just say between now and the end of the year, of every time you try to think about every time you breathe in deeply and imagine that you're actually taking in the life force of love, and then you're filling yourself with it, and you're sending out your own love into the field, so to speak, into the quantum field. So we're going to talk about the part of the book after the introduction where we talk about the intelligent message that symptoms are. And most of us tense up when we notice something isn't going right in our body. We get, we kind of go into lockdown, if you will, within our system. And it's mostly because we're afraid. We're afraid of, oh my gosh, what does this mean? I've heard this for years, and I do it myself, so I know that this is a human phenomenon. We run to Dr. Google and try to figure out, how many days we have to live. I'm being dramatic, but it's kind of how it goes sometimes. So, you might do that too. And the opposite of tension is ease. So wouldn't it be great if you could create the habit of ease when your body is trying to get your attention? Like, that's the first signal that ease is required for you to move through the layers of whatever is expressing for you, and access the gold, if you will, and transform the energy that is out of balance. So if you want some of that, type ease in the comments and claim it. Just the act of typing, or if you're journal writing, you can write it in your journal and say, I claim ease. And it'll help you remember a little bit more. It's a practice. All this stuff is a practice, and we have to keep kind of reminding ourselves, but it'll help you a little bit more when something pops up to go, oh, right, I'm going to choose ease. Best way to get to ease, take a deep breath. Inhale in through your nose and out through your mouth. So I really want to invite you to join the conversation. Type your comments, post your questions and your ahas. That way we'll feel more like we're in a circle, in a real book club. I've been in a book club for decades and it's the best thing ever. If we've not yet met, I'm Laurie Morse, a 30-year practitioner of Chinese medicine and director of the Sacred Health Academy, where we teach women who really do want to get their health back. And she's probably tried everything, that's what I hear anyway, and she knows she has to include her sacred self, but she's not quite sure how. And this is an online experience. It's all without overwhelm. It's an educational and spiritual journey, actually, that one takes at their own pace, because we all want to live with a calm mind, energy in our body, and peace in our hearts. So let's jump over to our book and make sure there's no comments. Okay, I'm learning how to be more aware of comments, so forgive me if it takes me a minute to see that you might be commenting. So I'm going to just start out in the introduction. I mean, you can all read the introduction, but what I want to highlight in the introduction is that when you read this book, so this book is layered with transmission, with energy from the higher consciousness of love. And I want to just bring to your attention that this is your next level of connection to the source of all life as you read through this material. And I would invite you to notice the subtle shifts, the subtle openings, the willingness of your mind to say, maybe we could explore that more and it wouldn't feel so scary. Because honestly, our mind is the holdback. And we do talk about this later in the book. I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to get through this book together. We have about a half an hour, 40 minutes each week. And so whatever we get through, whoever jumps on in time, that kind of thing. So, I also want to point out that if you have this book in your hands, there's a reason for it. Your higher self saw to it that you would have these words on the page available to you to take in and assimilate the essence of the meaning underlying these words. And believe me, there's a lot of essence underlying these words. So it's, these kinds of books, in my experience anyway, aren't the kinds of books that you can just read once, toss aside and go, okay, I got that good. They're really more of a kind of a workbook, if you will, and I suggest it when you read through something, you either highlight things that pop out to you, that resonate in your heart, because honestly, your heart will easily receive and accept every word in this book. It's our heads that we have to manage and get a grip, or help get a grip about all this stuff. What is really more potent is that if you have a journal and you write things down write the sentences that resonate for you, because the act of noticing the sentence, noticing the resonance in your heart, and then writing through your own hand and then going back and rereading, as often as possible. I've said this before, but I have journals, stacks of journals, and the ones that are sort of put away, I already own that material. I know it by heart now. And the journals I have now is the new material I'm layering in, and I'm devoted to owning, right? And when I say owning it, I mean it's not just a mental concept, but it's something that is in your cells now, like you embody it, and you know it by heart. You have access to it, and you can live it more than just knowing it as a mental concept. For the most part, for thousands of years, mostly things have been, especially in the Western world, have been more mental concepts. And I'm not saying that's bad. It's just that we now have to include the heart aspect of what we know to be true. And just so you know, everything I talk about and write about is actually verifiable by way of science. So I'm kind of a research nerd and a science nerd when it comes to the blending of spirituality and science, because there is, more and more is being understood and proven by way of science. And so, and I don't speak about things unless I personally own them, right? Because that just feels like it's an integrity piece. So, what we should know about together as we embark on this journey is that living from limitation, which has been the way human beings have lived, sort of a disempowered limitation, is coming to a close. And humanity is being called to its birthright of limitlessness. And that sounds so big to the mind, but the heart can easily open up into that. The heart can easily expand itself and stretch into the universal field and feel what limitlessness feels like. So can your higher presence. So this entire journey is about the connection to your higher presence, which automatically opens up a flow of connection into your heart. And then you get to expand and center and access peace and do healing and cultivate joy in your own life, right? This is that HEAL acronym. Did I finish that? No, I said health, empowerment and ease, abundance. Abundance is the capacity to have access to all things that allow for thriving, right? And then the L in HEAL is love. And so, and light, we could call, because they're both the same, right? You'll learn, on this journey that love and light are inseparable. They're one and the same. Light carries love. Love nourishes light. It's the yin yang, alpha omega, kind of thing. So we just live in that. We live into that understanding and that that wholeness. It's wholeness. This is why wholeness is such an important element to our connection and to our healing, because we have been living limited, which isn't whole, right? And so we're opening up our awareness and we're connecting to the wholeness that we already are. That's kind of the easy part. It's not like you have to do anything special. You just have to remind yourself, and it is a bit tenacious in the beginning, because we're so programmed and we have such deep grooves of thinking and beliefs and programming and patterns and constructs that haven't haven't walked us into our wholeness. So anyway, so in our time together, we're going to talk about supply. This is the idea of abundance. Supply is just a word. If you don't like that word, you can pick another one. That's true of any of these words, because sometimes words will make the gates of the mind close shut, and then we can't get ourselves into a relationship with the meaning of what we're reading, and so just pick a different word. If you get stopped at by a word, just go, well, what other word can I use there, right? That's the same for source or higher presence or I am presence or the source of life or spirit or all those words. It doesn't matter which word you use the word that makes the most resonance for you. And it's also important to know that when we relate to our higher self, our higher presence, that relating needs to feel both personal and universal. So that's the word you're going for, is the word that feels personal and universal. The one that makes you feel like you can feel it in your cells, and you're also one with nature. You're one with life, right? So that's the word you want to go for. And it's okay if you don't have all this chop right now. You're in inquiry. You're in a reciprocal exchange with the energy of life in order to discover the most meaningful words, essences, sentences, connections, people that bring this out in you, right? So, and so the word supply represents everything we need, such as healing, creative expression, ease, empowerment, connection, love, protection, opportunities, resources, regeneration. Do you know that there's a blueprint in every cell of your being, of which we have trillions? I kept saying 70 trillion. Well, when I wrote my heart book, a book on heart health 2 years ago, the research was showing 30 to 50 trillion cells every human being has. And then I later learned it was 70 trillion. Then I was listening to a physicist yesterday, and he's talking 100 trillion, and he's discovering some really amazing things. He's publishing a paper. Anyway, that's the kind of nerdy stuff I kind of get into. And then I translate it into ways that we can make work in our daily life, but breath by breath. Any hoodles, he's saying 100 trillion. So we're talking, and he was also talking about how there's 100 trillion atoms in every cell. And we have 100 trillion cells, right? And so, and in every single atom is this electron, and that electron is a life force. It's the light of the wholeness. It's the light of the universe, and it carries a blueprint of regeneration and wholeness and cellular function and intelligence in our body, and right function between our organs and our glands and our cells and our systems, right? Our systems meaning our cardiovascular system, our digestive system, our respiratory system, all these systems, right? I mean, already, even if you have a couple of things that are off track, already you have so many more things going right than you have going wrong. So we want to celebrate that. We want to honor that. We want to pull ourselves out of that quicksand of fear and impatience for this message of intelligence that is trying to get our attention, to push it. What was I saying there? Well, we just want to honor the message of intelligence and pull ourselves out of that quicksand of fear and impatience, that it go away, chop, chop. We have a very bad habit of that in our world, in our Western world. I think the Eastern mindsets are a little bit different around that. Who knows how much the West has influenced that. But anyway, so we need, in order to access this place beyond limitation, which, that has been, well, we need our higher self. Let me just say it that way. You can't do it without your higher self. In fact, you can't heal with your head alone. If you could, your head would have healed, this part of yourself would have done it already, but she doesn't know how. Our head alone, disconnected from our higher self, disconnected from our heart, does not know how to do that job. Connected to our higher self, connected to our heart, and living and breathing more moments of our day from that place activates a cascade of chemicals that regenerate and heal your system, that show you solutions to your problems, that point you in the direction of the desires of your heart. And you have to play with that in order to give yourself the evidence that is in fact how it works. I can tell you until the cows come home, and you've probably had experiences in your life, but every time we get in a place where we're stuck or we're sort of in that quicksand place, it's really hard to believe. So you stand on my shoulders if you want. Do the work that this particular book is calling you forth to evolve yourself through to it. And you'll discover it. You'll start feeling and knowing that is in fact how it works. That when we're connected, and and we include our heart, and we embody truths, the higher truths of ourselves, and the higher wisdom, and the higher intelligence, and the superconscious, and the divine mind, and then we are actually shown solutions. We're actually guided to the right places and to the right people and that kind of thing. So I'll let you read the rest of the introduction, and then jump over. I'm just scrolling down here to the part in chapter 1, to the very first part, messages of intelligence seeking our attention. So I guess the simplest way to talk about this is that we're a microcosm, and there's the macrocosm. So we're a smaller version of the whole. It's like a drop of ocean is often used as an example, where the drop is the same as the whole, but it's just a smaller portion of it, a smaller particle. And this is what physics is learning, that each of us are a hologram. We're all the wholeness of the universe in this smaller sliver, if you will, this smaller portion. But every single thing that the universe has, we have as an individual expression or a microcosm of this macrocosm. So why am I saying that? Because when we have a symptom as an individual, it is an intelligent message of our system saying something needs to be different. Either we need to add something, we need to take away something. So simple example of that is maybe we need to add more water to, we need to be drinking more water. Do you know that water carries the electrical conductive charge of the electrons of your atoms throughout your body to help beat your heart and to pump your blood and to make everything work? We're electrical beings by nature. We're biophotonic electrical beings. So that's a big mouthful. It simply means we're biology with light and electrical force. That's our life force, right? And so if something is off, we need, it's our body saying, hey, in order for us to work optimally, we need something. Maybe you need more movement, maybe you need less sitting, maybe you need more greens, maybe you need less stress. Or we need to take that. So that's the other side of the coin, is taking away something. Maybe we need to take out sugar, as much sugar. Maybe we need to lower the stress. And these are not concepts that we haven't heard a gazillion times. It's just sometimes we need to hear it a gazillion and one time before we go, oh, okay, I get that now. And not only do I get it, I can do it. Whereas before it felt like not possible or out of reach or something like that. And why does that matter at the individual level? It matters because the collective that we're calling humanity outpictures its dominant vibration. So our vibration is the sum total of our thoughts, words, feelings, actions, and environment, right? So everything on the planet has a vibration, and your vibration is not the exact same makeup as mine, and we can change our vibration in any given moment. Taking a deep breath changes your vibration. So the collective outpictures the dominant vibration onto the world stage, so to speak. So there's some healing, there's some messaging that's coming out on the world stage, right? There's division, there's energies like hate and disempowerment, and there's a lot. Let me just say it that way. We can all see it, and so it actually feels really horrifying. Yet it is getting our attention to make different choices individually first, because nothing can happen until we tend our own slice of the pie, so to speak. It has to start there, and then it adds up, or it ripples. There's a ripple effect into the whole. So being fearful or judgmental or critical of what's happening in the world is not going to make a change. In fact, it's going to add energy to hold it in that particular vibratory frequency. But saying, oh, okay, so I see division in a big way on the collective screen of life. And so what does that mean about my own division? Okay, well, maybe I'm divided between my head and my heart. Maybe I'm divided between a harmonious balance between my masculine energies and my feminine energies. Broad brushstroke, my masculine energies are the energies that I use to produce and push and make things happen and get things done. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we almost all of us in the Western world push over the line on that, and we use more of that energy out of balance and out of harmony with our feminine. Our feminine energy is acceptance and allowance and nurturance. It's about, self-care, taking good care of ourselves. When we bring the feminine energy in harmonious balance with masculine energy, that's yin and yang. That's harmonious balance between yin and yang, alpha, omega, light, love, right? We have health. We have balance. We have harmony. We have peace. We have right action. We have, we have a level of productivity that is in more in divine order than in human head order, if you will. Our to-do list doesn't own us, those kinds of things. So one of the first laws that we talk about in this section of the book is the law of living in harmony with life. So our job as a human being is to inquire as to what that means and to ask life to show us. Ask your higher presence. That's the same thing as life in my mind, because life what's the word I'm looking for? Not interfered by humans is already harmonious, is already in right balance, whole, healthy, and harmonious. So what we're asking our higher presence, that is in an octave of expression that doesn't include our disharmony and our fear constructs here on the earth plane, right? Well, let me not go there yet. So there's just so many things to say about all this. So that's the first law. So if you don't know what that means, that's okay. I mean, you're going to read the book. You're going to, maybe you'll even do the immersion course. You'll learn on a journey, right? So you have to give yourself permission to say, I want to learn this because I know that it's the most important foundational piece in my life, bar none, and will influence in a positive way as I continue to understand and deepen my connection to this. It will influence positively every area of my life. So rather than running around and trying to fix all the areas of your life, if you start here, it will influence every area of your life positively. So it's the most efficient and the best return on your investment of focus and energy and time, right? So that's the first thing you want to inquire. Show me what it means. What is the feeling of harmony in my life? Teach me what that is. Show me where I need to make adjustments in my mind, body, and life, right? And that means that you're putting yourself on the path of managing your own energy and eventually mastering energy. And that is why we chose to come into a physical expression on Earth at this time. So, and then the second law, well, that is the second law, is managing and mastering your energy. So, knowing that we're an extension of our higher presence, which is already whole and perfect and in a state of harmony, that energy, this is part of your anatomy, just like your arms and legs, right? Like you cannot be separate from it. You can forget that you have an arm. You can forget that you have, a bowel while you're going about your business. You have it, it's there. You think about it sometimes throughout the day, but not all the time. You can forget you have a higher presence and a empowered connection to it, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist if you forget, right? If the sun's behind the clouds, the sun is still there. We just can't see it, and we might forget about it for a day. But when it comes out next, it's there, and we don't forget about it. And I'm a fan of the sun, so to me, it's luscious. Anyway, so that this part of us, this higher presence part of us, extends itself as photons. So this is the light, right? And as electrons, as particles and waves. All this comes together as atoms and molecules and cells that make the body that you're breathing in right now. It's impossible to be. You wouldn't be alive and breathing if you weren't in connection with this part of yourself. So the whole point in this book, the thrust, the main message, is for you to remember that is actually your true nature, and to remember more times throughout the day, and to include it in everything you're doing. Initially, that will take some reminding of yourself. Initially, I had stickies everywhere, and anyway, I could go on and on about this, and I don't want to take up too much time, but let me just end on this idea that you cannot be separate from your higher self. You want to create the most and cultivate the most unified, relationship, being in communion with this part of yourself than any other relationship you've ever had. Like, that's how important this one is. and to make a commitment and to give yourself permission and to make a decision to do the healing it takes to remove the blockages to this connection, to remove um, the things that get in the way of this connection being full and acceptable to you, because we do have to accept this energy into us. Make no mistake. So, part of our journey is learning how to do that, because we go so autopilot, in such an autopilot way, to our programming, and our programming is not our higher self. It is not the patterns of unlimited goodness, right? We have to get beyond, we have to open ourselves beyond that and peel back the layers and heal those layers. And so I'm inviting you to make a decision to do that, because we personally and collectively, it's time. Like, there's no more snooze button, so to speak. And it's time for us to do this work individually and collectively, and to evolve ourselves into this next version of who we really are. So thank you for being here, whether you were here live or you're hearing on the recording. I'm just checking my Zoom here. And if you don't have the book yet, go grab it. And next week we'll be talking about the next section, which is conclusions versus curiosity, and contrast as information, which will kind of, be a continuation of this intelligent, if a symptom comes up, it's an intelligent message. And so if you have questions, please post them in the Facebook group, and we can talk about them specifically either through the week or next week. So I am going to sign off now. I thank you very much for being with us, and for giving yourself permission to do this work. Thank you.